What is Marathon? In this video, I'm going to break down the new game from Bungie and everything that we know so far. The visual style of this game looks breathtaking. But you know what? Before we get stuck into what the new game is, we need to learn about the old game. Where does Marathon actually come from? Well, Marathon is a first-person shooter game developed and published by Bungie and released in December 1994 for the Apple Macintosh. The game takes place several centuries into the future in outer space and sets the player as a security officer attempting to stop an alien invasion aboard the colony ship named the Marathon. Marathon is the first game in a series of 3 games collectively known as the Marathon Trilogy, which also includes its 2 sequels, Marathon 2 Durandai and Marathon Infinity, released in 1995 and 1996 respectively. In 1996, Bungie released Super Marathon, a port of Marathon and Marathon 2 for the short-lived Apple Bandai Pippin video game console. Bungie released the source code of Marathon 2 in 1999, which enabled the development of an open-source enhanced version of the Marathon 2 engine called Aleph 1. The game's assets were released by Bungie as freeware in 2005. Now, the new game is nothing like the old game. If anything, it's just taking the name of the game and some of the lore and adapting it into this brand new extraction shooter. So what do we know about the new Marathon game? Well, by 2850, clone technology allows a person to reliably shift their consciousness from their born body to a new synthetic body and back again. Become a runner in Bungie's new sci-fi PvP extraction shooter. Compete for survival, riches, and renown in a world of evolving persistent zones where any run can lead to greatness. And this is what Bungie say about the game. It is a PvP-focused extraction shooter set on the mysterious planet of Tau Ceti. Marathon will see players inhabit the bodies of runners, cybernetic mercenaries who have been designed to survive the planet's harsh environments. Exploring the lost colony that once inhabited Tau Ceti's surface, players will engage solo or in crews of 3, searching for mysterious alien artifacts, as well as for valuable loot and new weapons and gear that they can add to their collection. Marathon is the start of an amazing journey for Bungie, one that is inspired by our studio's legendary history while pushing boldly into the future, said Marathon General Manager Scott Taylor. We're taking all of the lessons that we've learned from more than 30 years of creating amazing worlds and innovative PvP experiences and putting them into a game that looks, sounds, and plays like nothing Bungie has ever made. Even at this stage of development, it's incredible to watch the creativity and excitement around the game at Bungie, said Marathon Game Director Christopher Barrett. The team is committed to creating a PvP-first gameplay experience full of tension and excitement, all set in a persistent, dynamic, narratively rich online world where players' actions have ramifications on each unfolding season. So that's the TLDR breakdown of the game so far. However, things get more interesting. This Twitter user actually noticed there was a QR code in the announcement trailer. This led to a website, and this kicked off an entire ARG. And this is what I love about Bungie. They do mad stuff like this. I mean, this is crazy. So this ARG, I'm not even going to pretend to understand what I'm looking at here. This is Christopher Barrett. He's the game director, and a lot of the other devs as well were dropping these sort of cryptic images. Well, people have worked out what the actual ARG led to, and it leads to this very interesting video about the lore of Marathon. And we're going to watch this. It's only a minute long, but check this out.
So the Marathon is this gigantic colony ship, right? And it's, humanity's first foray into the stars. They're trying to colonize this, planet, the nearest planet to Earth. We don't know what happened, right? All communications were cut off on Earth. Well, some people might know what happened. But when we pick up in Marathon today, players are going to be trying to discover what happened. They're going to be exploring Tau Ceti IV. They're going to find out what happened to the Marathon ship. They're going to find out what exists in these dangerous zones that the UASC does not want any of the players, runners, exploring, because some of the most valuable loot, some of the most valuable artifacts in the world that every corporation wants and wants to, buy from, these runners who are finding these alien artifacts in this dangerous world.
I mean, that's super cool. I love stuff like that. That is really, really cool. I like the way as well it blended in like little images. You could sort of see one of the artifacts when he was speaking about the artifacts. Really cool stuff, that is. And I think this is looks like a pretty strong start for the game so far. And remember, we don't have any gameplay yet. We've just got teasers and bits of information from Bungie, and the art style is absolutely incredible. Next up, we've got a Q&A, which was held by Scott Taylor and Christopher Barrett. Now, this goes into a lot more detail about the game. So we're going to go over this because there's a lot of really crucial stuff here. So let's begin. Today, you announced Marathon, the first entirely new project announcement from Bungie in more than a decade. How hard has it been to keep this under wraps for so long? Scott Taylor says, it's been so hard. It's so wild to be talking about this in front of the world. I mean, it's been under wraps for so long, but as a team, we've been completely immersed in developing this world behind closed doors at Bungie. Even though there's still a long way to go before release, it's fantastic to be able to open up, even just a little, and share what we've all been working on. The name Marathon obviously conjures up visions of the original game from 1994, but this is something new. Christopher Barrett says, finding the right balance is one of the most fun parts of development. We have a tremendous amount of respect for the original Marathon games, and from the very start, we've wanted to honor that, especially the mythology, story, and themes of the world. At the same time, our vision for this game is something new. It's not a direct sequel to the originals, but something that certainly belongs in the same universe, and that feels like a Bungie game. Finding those opportunities to nod to the universe's lore, while also getting to build something different and new, has been one of the best parts of developing this game so far. It's our aim to create something incredible for both players who are completely new to Marathon's world, and for those that have been waiting years for more stories in the Marathon universe. You don't need to know anything about Marathon to understand or play this game, but if you do, we've made the experience with references and deep cuts that you'll recognize. You mentioned that Marathon will feel like a Bungie game. What does that mean for you? Chris says, there are many elements to what make a Bungie game. To me, it runs the gamut from incredible feel of the weapons to beautiful and evocative world building, rich in lore, immersion, and opportunities for incredible adventure. With Marathon, one of the areas that is a big focus for us is our player-based storytelling. The original Marathon games revealed story moments through terminals, all in text, but we now have so many more ways to immerse players in this world, both in and out of the game. We'll be carrying that through in the design of this game. Our design philosophy here is to have players affect the story of the world through their choices and their actions. This approach also lets us shape the overall narrative direction of the game experience while giving players a direct sense of agency and power. Marathon is designed from the start as a PvP-focused game and won't have a single-player campaign. Instead, with the PvP experience as our foundation, we're creating opportunities for player-driven stories to unfold, stories that are integrated with the overarching, game narrative. We're building a world full of persistent, evolving zones where players create their own journey with every run they take. That might mean an unforgettable firefight against another crew vying for the same loot, or a last-second extraction while beset on all sides. Beyond just the story of our last run, however, we want to give players the chance to affect these persistent zones and the larger world as a result. For example, imagine a crew discovering a previously undiscovered artifact that, when activated, opens a new area of the map for all players to explore. In essence, we're creating a game where the actions of players can have ramifications for the world and players with each unfolding season. And that sounds absolutely incredible, if you ask me, guys. That sounds mental if they can pull that off. So a new kind of storytelling for Bungie. What else will feel new for players? Well, it's a PvP first game, something we've never done before. That means a focus on all of the things that people think about when they think of a great competitive experience. Things like creating moments of tension and building weapons that look, feel, and sound amazing. We also want to make sure players have tons of strategic choices, both in terms of the gear available and their loadouts, but also on the ground in terms of tactical options, entrance and exit, exfil points, and so on. Beyond those fundamentals, we're also focused on approachability and competitive integrity, which are huge points of emphasis for us. We're prioritizing security and focusing on vigorous anti-cheat measures as well as dedicated servers, global data centers, active community conversation and feedback, and more. Ultimately, we want to ensure that the competitive experience in Marathon is fair and fun for every player. Extraction Shooter brings to mind players dying, losing their stuff, tedious gear management, a huge time investment to get back what was lost, and so on. How is the team approaching these kind of issues with Marathon? This is something we think about on a regular basis. We want the game to have a sense of danger and tension. We want it to be thrilling and always have the sense that this run is going to be unforgettable. At the same time, it's true that the traditional extraction genre tropes can be frustrating, especially for new players. One of the ways we're addressing this is by making the core fantasies of survival and extraction fun, clear, and easy to understand. We want people to quickly understand fundamentals like healing or oxygen or how to organize their gear. After all, if they get those things intuitively, there's much more room for tactical thinking and creativity. It's our job to create the fun and the fantasy, not the busy work and the tedium. The second thing is, and I can't talk too much about this right now, is that there are so many ways to win in Marathon, and some of them only require getting out alive. In essence, we think there's an opportunity for players to still have fun, to be fulfilled and rewarded, even if they don't make it to an exfil. You said Marathon is currently in development. What does that mean, and do you have a timeline for when fans will hear more about the game? There's still a lot of work to do before launch, and even before we're ready to talk about the game in more detail. The team is hard at work, and we've got a great base to start from, but there is so much more to do, including continuing to grow our team. That's one of the most challenging parts of game development. Hiring when everything is still under wraps. Now that we're announced, I'm excited that because we can be much more candid about the positions we're looking for and talk more openly to candidates about the work that's going on and our vision for the game. If you're interested, you can check out the Bungie careers page to see open positions, which we're constantly updating with new roles as needed. Come work with us. We're working on something we feel is really special. I know that fans are interested in learning more about Marathon. Believe me, we can't wait to show you more. And while I can't give you a timeline on when that information will be coming, what I can say is this. The next time you hear from us about Marathon, we'll be able to show you the gameplay and be much closer to launch. We can't wait for more. Until then, do you have a story to share from your best Marathon run so far? So many come to mind. It's funny because for me, when I think of my best runs, I don't necessarily jump to a run where I got the biggest artifact or dominated with kills. I think about how excited I was to share something insane and unexpected that happened with my friends on the team. For example, I always like to go into the world with a plan, but then be open to that plan being challenged by what I see happening around me. One time, I was on my way to collect some data from the greenhouse to complete a contract for Traxxas. I got completely lit up by another crew and some ticks that were poisoning me. I escaped, however, but I was in rough shape, and I changed my objective to just getting out alive. As I tried to sneak my way to the exfil, I came across a container with a weapon I'd been looking for with some of the best mods in the game. So now I was doubly focused on getting out alive. As I made it to the exfil, I saw a crew on top of a building looking for runners. I was able to hold my exfil as they came after me and get out. It was so tense coming out of that, I couldn't wait to share what happened. So I think that gives it actually quite a bit of detail there on what they're going for with the game. And honestly, I think I'm really excited about this. The sky seems the limit with this game, but there are some more interesting stuff I want to show you guys. Okay, this is super cool. Look at the logo. The logo is the Marathon ship through the planet. Look at that. That is so cool. I really like that. I love this. I mean, just that graphic alone looks incredible with the ship through. I mean, that is mental. That is really, really cool. So talking of cool stuff, I just want to kind of end the video with some high resolution stills from the announcement trailer. So we're going to get a look here at a runner. I mean, look at this. This art style is so fantastic to me. The color scheme is amazing as well. Look at it. I love how it's so crisp and clean. So these are runners that we're seeing here. This is a... this is crazy. It's some sort of digital nano insect, and it's building one of the runners, I think. You could also see the QR code underneath it. This is a runner, I think, being built by these sort of little... like these little digital caterpillars. It looks amazing. Like, look at this for visual design. It is incredible. Look at that. And then, again, there's Marathon smashed through the moon. I mean, yeah. It's nice to see the sort of structures there, keeping it together. I think this is a runner being cloned or rebuilt, ready for a consciousness to be injected into it. We get a kind of nice bit of scenery shot here, which is awesome. Again, we've got a runner with a sniper rifle just looking out for a victim. Again, looks really cool. This image is just sick. This image is so cool. I want this in like 4K resolution. I want it as my desktop. This, again, looks super cool. I mean, look at that. This is one of the runners being killed as the sort of life blood leaks out of the construct. It's so cool. Again, we get to see the runner there. And, yeah. All right, guys. This is a game I'm keeping my eyes open to. As more news is available, we'll check this out. Hopefully, we can get some gameplay footage as well fairly soon. But I'm hyped for this. I mean, the idea of having a sort of persistent PvP world where players can actually augment it and change the story and have different experiences is like incredible to me. So we'll see what happens with this. Okay, thank you for listening and watching the video. I hope this has been informative and given you information on Bungie's new shooter. Do let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa, and I'll catch you lot on the next video. See you soon.